Welcome to this episode of Out in the Borderland. Today, we're behind the scenes with the Fall Snowmobile Club, learning more about this outstanding organization that provides the Borderland with a great winter activity.
My name is Jim Begler. I'm the president of International Voyageurs Snowmobile Club.
My name is Bruce Buttress. I'm the trail administrator for the International Voyageurs Snowmobile Club and also a groomer operator.
Okay, the Snowmobile Club here was founded in 74, 75. It was a lot of hard work over the years by a lot of people getting our trail systems open. We do have a board of directors. I would like to name them if I can. It's our vice president is Shaver Briggs. Our treasurer is Julie Jacksaw. Our secretary is Kyra Hasbargen. Our board of directors, we have Ken Anderson. We have Mike Highball, who has been involved for years. We have Stephen Tonopoulos, Brian Briggs, and Kevin Boyum. And our club meets once a month, the third Tuesday of the month at Almost Lindy's. And hope everybody would come there. One thing people have to remember, that if we don't have a board, we don't have somebody who runs this club, we don't have a club, we do not have trails. It will shut down. So the younger generation got to get more involved. So our groomer operators, of course, you have Bruce, but we do have Kevin Boyum, Ryan Schmidt, and the one that's been here for about 30 years is John Arnold. And all these guys put in a lot of work. People got to understand that this isn't an 8-hour job. They're out there from 8 hours to 17 hours. And most of our grooming on the east end is only at night once we make a pass, because we want safety. Safety for us, for our club, is number one. That's why we all emphasize our trails are the best. We want them in great shape. We don't want accidents on them. Bruce hit the hammer on our nail on the head with the respect people's property. We also went through a thing here a couple weeks ago about noise problems, the loud pipes. So we put out signs on the city of Rainier on both ends, and from Rain Lake One Stop to our trail, because a few people were complaining about this. And if we lose those two sections, we've lost our whole East Trail section. So I think what we would like to mention is that we do have a Facebook page for our club, and we do have a ridetheborder.com for our club, and that's what people that come from out of town can look up and see what our trail conditions are like, and see what places here are open and when they're open, you know, because some of them don't start till after New Year's around here because of the ice conditions. But people come up here because, hey, we got the best trails, and we got some awesome resorts and awesome people that run them.
And they can also check our website and see who's an associate member who belongs to our club, and we like to promote them so they can stay or eat there or buy gas from some of our local associates. We get a lot of riders from the Minneapolis area, some from Wisconsin. We get a lot of riders that come from Ontario, Fort Frances area, up in the Baudette area up in Canada too, because they don't have much of a trail system up there. I mean, they do, but they don't. So a lot of them like to come down here and ride our trail system and go south and stay overnight down at the casino or wherever. So.
And we have a lot of resorts too that are between here and Cab and Ash River and Crane Lake that they like to go visit too. So. They're always busy on the weekends. So our main objective, and these guys do a wonderful job, is, and I've said this from the start, if I go out there, I want a good trail. And if it's not, somebody's going to hear about it, and that's when these people come here. These guys do an excellent job, and they have the best trails around. So our grant and aid system is from the state of Minnesota. It's a system that there's a certain amount of gas tax taken out per registered sled in Minnesota, which is given to the trail systems of each region or each city. You know, you got the North Shore, you got here, you got west of town, and all the regions and cities that have snowmobile clubs, and they each receive so much per mile to keep them groomed. And that's what we get paid for, and we're using that money because we want these trails to be great. So that's where it comes from. It's been involved, or it's been out there for many, many years. miles and miles of trails and miles of lake, you know, from here to the park to Kettle Falls and back around, and everybody gets out and enjoys them, and they want to do their own thing. So as long as they're out there having fun and enjoying the trails and being safe, that's what we're here for.
We maintain about 135 miles of trail. We go from International Falls west to just about Birchdale, and we also go down to Big Falls, and then we do our east side, which is Rainy Lake side, so east of town up by the visitor center, and also we do a portion of the lake when we can get out there. So well, there is the North Home Club, which is part of Coochin County, the Badette Club, and also Cap Togama and Ash River and Crane Lake, which all ties into our trail system, which, I mean, I know like Crane Lake and Ash River and Cap Togama is in St. Louis County, but all of our trail systems all meet up together. So
we just got a compliment the other day from two guys that's snowmobiling the whole state of Minnesota, and he says we're #1. So that's what we aim to do, and that's where these guys do a great job.
Well, we run 2 Tuckers with the International Voyageurs Snowmobile Club. They're a 4-track vehicle. This one is a 2009. We have a Arrowhead drag that we use on this one. This one usually stays on the west end of our trail system. We have longer runs over there, so that's why the newer machine stays over there. Over here we have a 2004 Tucker, and we run a Challenger drag with this one. This one carries a lot more snow, which is good on our east side of our trail system because of the more corners and whatnot. So he can carry a lot more snow over there to fill in the next corner. So as far as grooming, I have 3 other groomer operators. We put in a lot of work and time. When we also can't get out there with these quite yet at the beginning of the season, we have 3 snow machines here that we go out and clear the way of the trails, such as there's big downfall and whatnot, and being able to pack down the trails and getting them froze down so we can actually get these groomers out there. A lot of people don't realize that they think they can go just about anywhere. They can't. I mean, they can go a lot of places, but when they weigh 14,500 pounds, I mean, that's a lot of machine out there on the trails. I mean, when we're out there with let's just say just with the groomer, you can go a lot of places. It's when we have the drags on the back, that's what take these down through the swamp, because you got a lot of weight that's pulling down on these back tracks. So you might make it through a spot on the front tracks, but you get over that spot where you think it's a little bit not as safe, the drag is what brings you down. So other than that, I mean, we try to do safety with my guys and whatnot, and make sure that they check ice and make sure that they have at least 14 to 16 inches of ice to be able to take these across rivers or beaver dams and whatnot. And we have escape hatches in them, so if they run into problems, they can get out. These plows on these drags, or on the, not drags, sorry, on the groomers are meant for smaller stuff, like such as if the tree is maybe froze into the swamp a little bit to pop it out. They're not really built for pushing heavy stuff for trees that are too massive to push. I mean, if you can bump up to the tree and it nudges, you can probably get it out, but these are not meant for pushing over big boulders and whatnot. It's pretty much for pushing over snowbanks, maybe popping a tree out of the swamp and getting it out of the way. So you're not having to groom over it, and you can get it out of the way of obstruction with the snowmobilers. This drag here is a 6-blade system. It's got a spreader bar, and then it's got a pan that's got 2 rudders on it. So when you're operating this, it's got a stiff hitch. You can lift up and you can also push down on how much snow you want to be taking off. So when you're driving in the groomer, you're always constantly looking in the mirrors, and you can see how much snow you're cutting with the blades. So that kind of gives you an idea, you know, how much to take off or how little to take off, because depending on the conditions, you might need to, you know, like right now after we got this warmer weather, we're a little bit more aggressive with the blades because we're trying to get the frozen stuff chewed up and spit it back out at the end of the drag because of the warm weather we had. So we're trying to get out there and get a little bit of lubrication for the snowmobiles so they're not overheating. So that's with the blades, you're able to cut more snow and take more of the base out and then spread it out the back. And then of course we got our wheel system for going across roads, or I've been out there and also coming up to a beaver dam, and you get out there and you check the ice on the beaver dam and you can't get across it, so you can't just back up with the pan down on the drag, so you got to put it up on the wheels and try to maneuver yourself out of there and get out of trouble and turn around and get off the trail.
People got to understand, I've heard a lot of complaints this year, Bruce has too. I've had them text to me, email to me or whatever about some of our trails not being groomed. Not so much ours, but south of here. But people have to remember that at deer season time this year, we had 30 inches of snow and that melted. The beaver dams are full, the rivers are full, the bogs that we have out there are full. We got things packed down. These groomer operators worked their tails off. We got them ready to go, and in some areas they got 8 to 12 inches of snow again, and that took the ice right off some of these beaver dams. So I have numerous pictures sent to me or on Facebook about groomers being stuck in the middle of a beaver dam. Well, it's not cheap getting a logger or somebody out there with a piece of equipment to pull them out. I talked to Tom from Badette here a couple of weeks ago, and he was out with his 2 bombardiers, and you watched one crossing a beaver dam that was safe a week before that, and he sunk one, and luckily he got back out on the other side. But so have patience with us. Weather determines what we can do.
On the tuckers, you have about 1.5 psi in the tracks, so that's per square inch on these tracks. They have really good flotation, like I mentioned earlier, without the drag on the back. So I've been out west going to Birchdale and been in 3 feet of snow, jumped out, and it's up to my waist, and the tracks are only doing about 6 inches of impression into the snow. So they do have good flotation to a degree. When it comes to swamps and stuff, that's a total different story. So these tracks are not cheap. These tracks now, I just was pricing out tracks for the groomers now, and they have a new track system out. These tracks that they have coming out now are $6,000 a piece. So they are not cheap. You do get your wear and tear on them. That's why when we come in, we know we always like to check our tension on the tracks and make sure that you're not out there when you're climbing up a hill, you end up ratcheting the track, which will kind of jump. Just like on a snowmobile, everybody wants to make sure that their tracks are in, have the right tension so you're not wearing them out faster. As far as the groomers, I mentioned earlier about $6,000 per track. These groomers are about $225,000 new. So we try to take good care of them as best we can. Of course, everybody's had their story where they've went through the swamp and buried them, which is not fun. I remember one time I was down by the Lowman area there and made my trip to Birchdale and coming back, and the one area where I made it through, on my way back, the whole groomer just sank, and it took me about 7 hours to cut trees and lay them lengthwise underneath here, and to be able to get the tracks on top to hold me up. So I mean, that was probably my worst time of getting stuck. Of course, I've seen many whites of guys' eyes, or ladies, hard to say, you know, on sleds coming around corners and on the wrong side and almost hit the front of the blade. I mean, I've seen that quite a few times. I mean, I know that it's nighttime and whatnot, but you got to watch out for us. I mean, we're watching out for you. We're lit up. Stay on the right side of the trail. Don't stay on the outside of the trail where you're not supposed to be. So I mean, all the new riders and stuff, you know, and younger riders, they should all know the rules of the trails. I mean, as a club, I mean, we do have a thing on our website showing rules of the trail and how to stay, you know, on your side and whatnot. That is to respect property owners, because a lot of these trails aren't our trails per se. I mean, they are a lot of state grant and aid trails, but a lot of them go through private property. So we want to respect the owners because we do have easements through those properties, and if we have some people that don't respect the landowners, we'll lose those part of the trail, and we won't have a trail system, because we lose a little section of trail. It's hard to reroute the trail and hook back up to each other. Such as speed is a big thing. Watch your speeds on the trails. I mean, especially nighttime. I know nighttime everyone can think that, oh, I can go a little bit faster, I can see a little bit farther, I can see a light coming and whatnot. Well, it's not the case. You know, I see it all the time when I'm out grooming. You know, people are going a little too fast for their headlights, and I see lots of tracks going off the corners into the woods, and I don't want to see anybody die on our trail system.
It's been a kind of a tough winter. We started out slow. The guys got the grooming done, excellent shape. Then Mother Nature decided to turn into spring, and now the guys are back out there getting it back into winter shape again. And my understanding is we have a lot of people coming here in the next 2 months. I do want to emphasize that just coming this Saturday, we do have our annual hot dog roast that we put on at the corner of the Hagerman Arrowhead Trail. We will have the vintage sleds there from all over the tri-state area probably. They like to come there and show off their machines. And also on February 18th is a big thing for us, is we have a radar run at Thunderbird Lodge, and that is for gas cards for cancer patients who have to go out of town. A big thing for us. Jamie Traska, who is our gaming manager, does an excellent job. So with that, we can purchase things too. You know, we purchase a snowmobile through that and stuff like that. So that's just a little extra for us to keep up on all the new equipment and what we need to be out there and do a good job. Okay, we purchased this garage about 10 years ago, I believe it is. What we used to do back then, we had one of our groomers out at Rain Lake One Stop, and we had one of them over here at Ewald's garage. But they were never on thawed. They're always full of ice and everything else, and this come up. And so we decided to purchase it. Our groomers are in here every day. We have in-floor heat, so when they leave the next day, they're all melted off. If they have to change oil, any maintenance on them, it's done right here. We have storage for our sleds and all our other equipment in here, so nothing's left outside. It's the greatest thing that we ever did, I think. So other than buying 2 groomers, so. But it sure helps on the guys being able to keep them clean and maintaining them, oil change, greasing them, and everything else. Well, if you notice, we have 3 skidoos here. They're awesome machines. I mean, these guys get out, they pull a lot of stuff. They put our signs out in the lakes and whatnot. Pack trails, beaver dams, cut trees, you name it, to get our trail system over. I look at myself, I mean, I get teased a lot and I throw the tease back to them, but I'm an Arctic Cat man. I've had one since 1965. But it's to whatever the person likes. They're all nice. They're all great machines. Today, they're getting pretty spendy, but you know, you keep them for a long time and enjoy them. So, and if you have a good used one, somebody's always looking to buy one. So, you look at a sleds now, you can pretty much think anywhere between $12,000 to $15,000. But you know, they're all computerized, EFIs and stuff like that. You know, so I mean, you look back in 1965 when I had my first one. That was a little 18-horse Panther, and it went about 18 miles an hour. You know, and if you went through snow, you're pretty much guaranteed you were stuck there. So these things go through anything if you know what you're doing. So they all make awesome sleds, and it's just the way it is nowadays, you know. I do want to emphasize one thing again that Bruce brought up is our trail system. We do have multiple places we go through: the state, county property, MOPUS property, and private property. I do get the majority of the complaints, and I'm sure Bruce does too, about people going through their yards. because I think they do it that way instead of calling the sheriff department because they don't want to get involved with that. Last year was a very bad year. People, kids especially from what I've seen, have to stay out of people's private properties. We lose a trail, we've lost function. We have private property on both ends of our trail, and if we do lose something, we're really hurting. So please watch your speeds on the trails. Through the city of Rainier is a big one now that we've lost the original trail. Just be careful. It's a fun sport. We hope you get out there and enjoy the best trails in Minnesota, best trails in the tri-state area. Just be safe, have fun, and go home alive.
A hearty thank you to Jim and Bruce for being with us on this episode of OITB. The International Voyageurs Snowmobile Club provides an essential service in keeping area residents and winter tourists on the trails. Their work provides the Falls area with some of Minnesota's best-kept snowmobile trails, and we were fortunate to get a behind-the-scenes look at the organization and its lifeblood, both men and machines. See you next time on Out in the Borderland.